Okay. I would like to call the meeting to order. Elizabeth, can you do roll call, please?
Linda Boone,
Present.
Tracy Payne,
Present.
Valdana Chuck,
Present, sorry, I probably was on mute.
Pamela Zadirich,
Present.
and Alan Gapka,
Present.
and we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Erin, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
United States
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one
under God,
under God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Excuse me. Okay, the minutes of the prior meeting were sent to everybody in advance. Can we start with a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move so.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any corrections, additions? And if not, Elizabeth, can we take a vote to approve the minutes? Roll call vote.
Certainly. Linda Shum,
Yes.
Tracy Payne,
Yes.
Valdana Chelik,
Yes.
Pamela Zadirich,
Yes.
Alan Gapka. Alan, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yes.
And the motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
under discussion,
Can I just make a point of order for next time?
sure.
Oh, okay. So if there are corrections or additions, we need to ask that before we approve.
Before we make the motion, before we,
Before you make the motion to approve.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the sequencing plan. And Erin or Doug, I don't know which one of you want to present what we've come up with in the sequencing plan.
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. I'll open. I want to let everybody know, I do think we'll have a fairly short meeting today. We have a lot of things we're working on, but things are not quite ready for sharing yet. Nevertheless, we did not want to cancel your meeting. We wanted to give you what updates we have. So we do want to spend a few minutes today talking about 5A and 5B sequencing and where we are in funding. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Doug Blanchard. He's one of our consultants for the Residential Sound Insulation Program, and Doug is the program director. Doug.
Thanks, everyone. I'll give you a little bit of an update of where we are with the sequencing of the homes that have a confirmed order. We are continuing to work on the calculations and putting those homes in order, following the criteria and the weighting that the committee had approved in the past meetings, I mean. So one of the things that we are working on right now is we're taking a look at each of the homes that has a confirmed odor to determine if there's any data in each of those homes that was not complete or not recorded during an odor inspection. So with that information, once we gather all of that information, we have to go back to the formulas that were approved, and we are going to recalculate the percentages, because the samples that we gave before were percentages that were based on just the 50 home sample that we looked at for determining that criteria and those weighting factors. So it's taking a little bit more time to check each of the homes that have confirmed odor, and hopefully soon we will have that complete. in addition to that, once we get that complete and those homes are sequenced, numbers 1 through whatever, the hundreds.
730.
Yeah, there will be some next steps that will have to take place. So one of the next steps we were contemplating that should happen is to notify each of the homeowners how or where they are in line of those homes, of the 730 homes. So we were thinking that could be something as simple as one letter going to each homeowner telling them what their position was. Wanted to kind of open up a discussion to see if anybody have any thoughts of something else that could be done or should be done to let the homeowners know the position or the sequences once they're figured out.
I'll put my 2 cents in on it. I think that letting people know where they are in line will go a long way to at least giving them some idea of what their expectations may be. So I think that's a great idea. I'm down with it being a letter. I did suggest before that, some kind of identifying number that might encompass the airport, the date of confirmation, and their number in line might be a great identifying code. So anybody that they would give that information to would immediately know, well, this is what this means and this is what you can expect. And, I'm just saying, other than, I mean, it's some kind of assignment that tells people at a glance, or anybody they talk to, where they're at. Don't know if that's plausible, but, even if they were to call the RSIP office, they could give them their identifying number, bing, bing, boom, somebody knows who's calling and when they got confirmed and what number in line they are. And, that should help out tremendously, I would think.
Okay.
Would this be, also my question is, would this be published on the website, the entire list?
Linda, I think we're open to that. Do you have a recommendation?
I'm just, I know that it was me. I'm always curious, where do I stand in relationship to other people? Not that it's going to make a difference because we've got a criteria in place, but I just kind of have a feeling that, we could get questions like that, and it might be an easy way to address those.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for being as transparent as possible. One of the things I need to work on, one of our homework assignments at the CDA, is just figuring out how to balance the transparency with keeping homeowners' information private. We've talked about that in a prior meeting, and we don't need to go into it now, but I just, I don't want to share people's private information if they don't want it to be shared. And I need to come up with a recommendation and come back to the committee and say, these are kind of our thoughts, committee, what do you think about this? And so, but I am open to, making sure that somebody knows that where they are in line. I think that's important because we've known from all along this is going to be a multi-year program. And I think that keeping people informed as to this year we're able to do X many homes and your sequence number is this, I think to Pam's point, that's going to go a long way, and we certainly support that.
Yeah, people might not be down with having their address on online for their neighbors to see that, I don't know. I think that might be.
I agree, Pam, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about, right? Like one idea is, we just publish a list of addresses and put it on the website. Well, yeah, that's one way to do it, but I'm not convinced that that's what we should do, and that's why I'm open to feedback.
Yeah.
Valid point. We'll let you come up with some thoughts on that and bring them forward, and we can discuss them in a future meeting.
Okay. Madam Chairman, does anybody else on the committee have any feedback as to whether we should do a letter only, or if we think other modes of, communication are helpful?
I would ask Erin, what other modes of communication are you considering? Do you have people's email addresses? Do you have phone numbers for all these people? At least a letter is something official.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pam, one of the things is as we get closer to, we are respecting the committee's wishes. We are planning to send out the notice sometime this spring. We haven't pinned down when exactly. We need to draft the notice, make sure everybody's comfortable with it, and then get ready for the distribution of that. We are required by law to send a letter to all affected homeowners and then put, I think, a legal notice in the newspaper. One of the things I wanted to ask the committee is, the city, we have a contract with the Chicago Tribune, so we would likely do the legal notice in the Chicago Tribune. They have a sister paper for Spanish. I know that certain neighborhoods around the airport have a high concentration of Polish-speaking people. And so when the notice is issued, I'm open to more than one newspaper and would ask the committee members if you have any recommendations.
Sure. Yeah, I would definitely have recommendations.
Okay. When you get a chance, will you just send me an email with some thoughts? Like if there are certain newspapers that you think around O'Hare and Midway might be better from a neighborhood perspective, or if, for example, there's a Polish language newspaper that would.
Yeah,
I
I was in contact with some the Polish newspaper from at least the southwest side. I'm not real the knowledgeable with regard to the O'Hare, and the problem with O'Hare is you've got so many suburbs involved. I mean, that might be best for the CDA to reach out to those respective suburbs, those townships, and ask what their local papers are.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's all I could offer up there.
Okay. So I think right now we're thinking of the primary means of communication for the notice this spring will be the letter to the homeowner and the legal notice in one or more newspapers. And we probably will put some kind of form letter on our website. But then in addition to that, getting back to Doug's point of after the notice goes out or in concert with it, just making sure every homeowner knows where they are in the sequencing plan, right? In order to make sure they know, is it near term or a future year?
You know what might be another idea too, Aaron, is that perhaps the letter can have either an email or a phone number or something that the homeowner can contact, a way to confirm, yes, they are in receipt of the letter and they what I'm saying? I mean, that, because there has been, especially in the southwest side, the mail has just gotten terrible. So, and then, since houses have been confirmed, they could have changed hands already. So, and I know that the letters that you do are to that particular address, which is what ties the windows to that address. But I'm just saying, please, confirm receipt of this letter by sending an email or dialing such and such a number. I mean, that would then ensure that, especially when you start sequencing and contacting people about when we can go, and if it would be a bad thing to find out at that point that the homeowner didn't get the letter, doesn't understand the letter. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think that's good. Pam, what do you think of the idea, and to all of you on the committee, what do you think of the idea of sending the letter certified mail and putting that green card on the back? Is that helpful or is that burdensome?
I think,
I'm going to
in my
suggest
opinion,
that.
Whoa, a lot of comments there. Okay, I want to hear all of that.
Well, I was going to suggest it, but on the other hand, I know I'm never home and I'm never around when the post office is open. So it's challenging sometimes for me to sign for those. Pam, I don't know what your thought was.
I agree with that. A lot of people work, a lot of people are out of the home. Certified mail then they get a sticker on their door saying they got to go pick up the letter. I think it just becomes more burdensome. And I think that you'll with some kind of a notification process saying, yes, I'm in receipt of this letter, please afford us an email or a call to say, yes, I've received the letter and whatever.
Okay.
I think that might be the best. And then in that letter, you'll also include the language assistance for the RSIP program with that letter. So if somebody gets the letter and doesn't understand it, they can get help translating it. Yes?
Yes. We've talked about when we send the letter itself will be, probably, a couple pages, and then we'll have a flyer in the same envelope that offers language assistance if English is not the primary language. And just for everybody's information on the call, although we have certain languages that are more prevalent around O'Hare and Midway, the CDA is very much interested in providing language assistance in any language. We do have a citywide contract for over-the-phone translation and translation services for printed materials, and that is very broad in terms of many languages available.
Oh, yeah.
So we're happy to use that. That's important, and we need all of you to help us, just spread the word that if language assistance is needed, we are happy to provide that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, one thing I wanted to ask, Aaron, due to COVID, will there be an option for a homeowner, say we can do 50 homes, and the person's number 7 is reluctant to, at this point, allow anybody in their home due to COVID, which is still quite possible, if not probable, depending on their circumstances. Can they say, I'll pass on this phase, but then they'll move to the front of the line at the next phase?
I'm open to that. Let's open that up to the floor, to the committee. I think, Pam, I have 2 thoughts. I mean, I'm open to that because that is a reality, and I want to be respectful to the homeowners that want it. If it's more important for them to defer their place in line, we may need to come up with a procedure that this committee approves to allow that, because the sequencing plan right now is the 6 criteria that all of you have adopted, and there's no sort of keep my place in line, but I'm happy to prepare that and bring that to you at the next meeting. I think the homeowner, if it's more important to defer it rather than, address the odor, I want to be respectful of that. I think we just need to come up with a plan and get it approved by all of you. Madam Chairman.
Well, yeah, there's elderly people, there's people with cancer, there's people with, immune disorders, and it might not even just be a matter of, that is, taking care of their lives is more important than the odor. I think that it's just the reality of it. There's still
Right.
people who haven't left their house, So.
Yes, and I would say that that's always a reality with residential sound. We know that we'll have to do these odorous window replacements over, multiple years. And that happens just with even regular sound insulation for first time people signing up for the program, where they have the ability to say, thank you so much. I would like to, pass on this year. And generally, as long as we're, sort of in the middle of a noise contour for noise, we just say, okay, we'll contact you in a year and we'll see if you're interested in the next phase. And I certainly am open to that for this as well. I just feel like whatever we come up with, we can draft that and bring that forward to the committee for your, for all of you to, make sure that you're comfortable with that.
Perfect. And one
thank
other
you.
question. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other thing I was wondering about, Aaron, is because of COVID and the possibility of the numbers increasing, because, once we mail the letter, we start the clock.
Right.
But say we get to a percentage of infections that no longer allows for inspections to continue.
Right.
Are we able to halt everything and stop the clock?
I probably need to check with the attorneys. I would think that as a matter of practicality, we have to allow for that possibility. As you know, this group, we've gone over the state statute multiple times. There's nothing really in there about procedures in a pandemic, but that seems pretty reasonable to me. So we can work up a proposal for that item too, where we essentially have to freeze the clock or stop the clock. Like once we send the notice, the state law says, 6 months from whenever we send that out. And I think we can certainly propose that to you before we send out the letter.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, look at Europe. They're going on their third lockdown, and I think that none of us are out of the woods yet on this thing. So.
Yeah. Doug, can you give just a quick update as to how we're doing with COVID positivity rates around O'Hare and Midway in general?
So, yeah, we are monitoring the positivity rates around each of the airports by zip code. So Midway has 3 zip codes where homes are participating in the program. And those 3 zip codes have been right around 5% or just below. We established a benchmark, reviewed with the Chicago Department of Public Health. And our benchmark is 5%. If a zip code is at 5% or lower, then we will proceed with appointments in homes as long as the homeowner is comfortable with us doing that. We have detailed protocols in place for our staff to make sure that they have health questions answered and they're not sick. We ask the same types of questions of the homeowner to help prevent the spread of the virus. That's good at Midway, that all 3 zip codes are down at a low level. At O'Hare, there's 12 additional zip codes, and 4 of those zip codes are above that 5%, but the other ones are below. So it's pretty good at around the O'Hare Airport as well. Is that enough of an update for that for now?
Yes, for me.
Yes. What I do have a question. Since the zip codes are below 5%, have you guys resumed inspections yet?
So over the past 3 or 4 months, we only had 3 people call us requesting an odor inspection. So we are resuming those that first week in April. We just didn't. We didn't have enough to conduct several of them, but we feel with the warmer weather, more people will be calling. So we picked April 1 to start to go back and do those. We are not at Midway, but we do have other types of appointments that we are conducting at O'Hare right now, just because there's different kind of work going on there. So we have been in those homes since February, periodically, depending on the positivity rates in those zip codes.
So Doug, just to clarify, are we resuming appointments next Thursday on April 1st? Or are we resuming appointments the following Monday, which would be April 5th?
We are going to call the 3 people who recently called us and find out what day they want us to come and do that inspection. So it might be the 1st, it might be the 4th. We don't know what day yet. We're going to call those homeowners.
Okay. So April 1st is, the next
Earliest
opportunity, assuming the homeowner is comfortable.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Doug, do we have anything else on sequencing plan today?
No, you already covered it. That was the notice that I was going to bring up, but you already brought that up and there were good discussions about that.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, are there any other questions for us on item 5A to the agenda?
And I would address that to the committee. Any other questions on sequencing?
Madam Chair, I want to mention that there are several questions from the audience or from the public. And I do want to remind everyone that they will be addressed during the public comment period. So they are getting tallied. I just want to mention that.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item B, funding. And once again, Aaron, I'm going to turn that over to you.
Well, actually, Madam Chairman, I was going to ask you if you have any updates. I think we still, the CDA, we need to have an offline conversation with the IDOT staff just to confirm the number. For everyone on the committee, there is money in the pot, which is great. We need to confirm what dollars are available and if there are any time constraints to using that. The legislature, approves the money on a yearly basis. So we want to make sure that we are accurate in the number that we share with you. And that's important because that's probably going to determine how big the first group of homes is. And we don't want to mix any messaging on that. So we are tracking that and we are having staff level conversations in the background in preparation for these meetings. But that's all important because by the time we release the notice that we're talking about this spring, we want to be able to say, hey, we want to hear from all homeowners that are still having a problem with this issue. If you haven't already let us know, we'd like to receive, your inquiry within 6 months. But in addition to that, we're looking forward to proceeding with the window replacements for the first group of homes. And we just need to know how big is that first group. So Madam Chair, I have nothing else on that issue unless you have any additional details.
You guys, I must apologize. Something happened here. Was there an amount of money we know what's in the budget yet? Did I miss that?
Well, the legislation initially appropriated 1.5 million. And then based on the sales tax collected, there were additional 3.5-ish. But the question comes in, I believe, and what we're trying to confirm is the 1.5 in the legislation says it has to be repaid at the end of the fiscal year, and we're confirming how that is going to work.
Okay.
So I know it sounds confusing, which is why we're not saying here's how much money we have available, because we're just as confused as you are. So I'm working with our attorneys to have them clarify how that actually works.
So I guess the question is there 3.5 million or is there 2 million?
I would say, I know there's 3.5. The question, the amount in question is the other 1.5 that was originally appropriated. But the 3.5 is definitely there and good to go.
Okay. So then the question is 3.5 or 5?
Right. That is what we're working with the attorneys trying to clarify. It says it's 5, but you may have to pay back the 1.5. So then it's not really 5. So working on that one.
And then how often is money being put into this fund?
Every year, the Department of Revenue can't. Well, first of all, the statutes say that the amount put in or allocated to each airport is based on enplanements, cargo, etc. And so what we base that on is the FAA annual report. So once a year they come up with that report. In addition, the Department of Revenue puts a little bit of money in the fund every month. Well, to turn around and divvy up that little bit of money every month based on what the last formula is would be just time consuming, and we don't have the resources to do that. So what we're doing is at the end of the fiscal year, plus we have to then reobligate the money that's available. So, it's just very confusing to do it monthly. So at the end of the fiscal year, we find out how much was collected in sales tax for the prior 12 months. Then the formula is applied to that. And based on the formula, then we move, and how much is attributed to the city of Chicago, then we move the funds into this, the Windows and Doors Fund.
Got it. And the end of the fiscal year is?
The state fiscal year ends June 30th.
6/30. So on June 30th, we can be, or 7/1, we hope to see more money going in. Okay.
Yeah, it takes us a couple, because we have our federal or our fiscal shutdown and so forth. But it's actually fairly quick. It would be like no later than the end of July, we would know how much more you've got, and it should be available.
Okay. And then Aaron, you say you're still trying to work out the details, how many windows or how many homes you could do with what's in there, right?
Right. So Pam, we need to confirm what amount of money is available right now. And so Doug and I, based on historical costs, his team has worked up sort of a dollars per home sort of average. And so we would use that and say, well, if there's 3.5 million available, divide by the average cost per home, we think we can do X amount of homes. And that's kind of the number that Linda and I want to confirm so that we can come back to all of you on the committee and share that information.
Do we know what the average per home is? I've seen numbers bandied about, with regard to this program, but do we know what an average per home is?
Well, we know what a generic average is. It's tricky right
And I
now
would tell
because
you, I'm
go
going to
ahead,
throw
Linda.
out before Erin even answers. I'm going to throw out, you guys have me motivated to start looking at windows for my house. And oh my gosh, the price of steel has gone up outrageously. Not to mention delivery schedules. So just a heads
Well,
up.
there's not a lot of steel in these windows.
Oh, okay.
Linda.
Yeah.
Just FYI, it's PVC.
Yeah,
So,
Pam, I would say that we have historical costs. Right now, pricing is not typical because there is some influence of the pandemic on the supply chain.
oh yeah.
So it's a
know.
little tricky in terms of estimating a current average cost per home. We definitely have historical numbers, and we're sort of trying to figure out how do we adjust the historical average to sort of account for present day circumstances. But yeah, that's also something that we're looking at.
Okay. All right. So we don't know quite yet.
Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully.
I got it.
Hopefully next one.
Right. I did have.
So, Madam Chairman, I think that's all I have for item 5B, unless you have anything else.
Okay. And that's what I was going to ask. Are there any other thoughts, comments, discussion on funding?
Is there a contract yet?
Not yet, Pam. Once we know how many homes, we will go out to bid in accordance with Chicago procurement law. That'll be a competitive bid contract. So we're looking forward to that.
I got that. Yeah. Okay. My other question to you is Erin, is the residential sound insulation program prepared to handle the volume of calls after the letter is mailed out? Because I think that it's going to be significant.
Yeah, Pam, I would say yes. And Doug, if you want to jump in and just talk about, thoughts getting prepared for that. You're on mute.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So I would say that, yes, we are prepared for that. We've been trying to predict when this letter will go out for several months now. And we are taking a look at our staffing. We do that on a monthly basis. And our staff levels right now, we believe are able to accommodate probably the first month, but we may need to increase staff after the second month because that's probably when we're going to get a big influx of calls. So we are looking at that, and we will be prepared for that.
All right, Erin, I do have, now that I'm looking at some of the notes I've taken here, you said that you felt like the letter would go out in spring. So will we as a committee be able to review this letter and add, be able to add our input before it goes? Because basically we're not looking at another meeting until the end of April now.
Right. I am not anticipating sending this meeting out before April, before that meeting.
Okay.
I'm curious, does the committee want to review the letter?
I do.
Anybody else?
Yeah. I'm makes no difference to me.
Anybody else? I think, Alan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, why not?
Yeah, I'm inclined to share the draft because we want this notice and this process to be successful and smooth, and so I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
Okay. That's fine. Yep.
And then Doug, since you're restarting the inspections, you guys provided us with protocol for conducting appointments in home during COVID-19, preparing for appointments in homes, conducting appointments in homes, and the RSIP odor inspection data collection summary that you use to perform inspections in home. And I think it would be very beneficial to the homeowners who are going to start setting up inspections to be provided this information so they know what the protocol is, how to prepare for the inspection, make sure their windows are closed, et cetera. Make sure that the 19 points of information are covered, so both parties involved in the inspection, because though someone's got to be home when it's done, are checking off all the boxes. So hopefully that would prevent having to go back and do inspections again.
Yes, I agree with everything you just said. We certainly, our customer service representatives are the first point of contact with these appointments, and they go over everything with each homeowner before we go to their home, as they're scheduling the appointment. They do offer the homeowner to either email that protocol to them so they have a physical copy of it, or we mail it to them, or we even offer to bring it to them with a courier so that they're aware of it. We also have that available to them. Our inspectors have it, and they remind them of all of those protocols when they arrive in the home to make sure that they're aware of it again, so that both parties are taking those precautions for COVID-19. And also for the inspections, our inspectors are following the procedures for making sure that they conduct all of the inspections and recording that appropriately, and leaving the information with the homeowner when they leave the appointment.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that each inspection is done the first time right. To me, that would make the best sense for all parties involved, and also
Absolutely.
that, the people can, if the weather doesn't cooperate, certainly you can reschedule, making the appointment at the time when the sun is on, or where you have your most problems. If it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 to 4, 6 or whatever, that's when we should come. We should accommodate those types of requests to make sure that we have the best chance at catching the smell, so to speak, and that people know to move furniture. There's a lot of people that said, the inspectors wouldn't touch their windows because they couldn't get to them. All those, as much information as you can give people up front to ensure that it's a successful inspection will go a long way in making it successful.
Yes, I agree with all of that. And we do push that information on our inspectors to make sure that they do everything during that inspection there at that time.
We have 2 points pushing. You're better to get a better result. You understand what I'm saying? That's the way I think about it.
No,
You
I
got
agree.
2 people supposed to happen, then everything should go smoothly. So,
Yes.
and the last thing I've got to ask you guys that it was on my agenda was, has there been any discussion about a showroom on the southwest side? Since this first 730 homes, I would say the majority are around Midway. I think it's a real difficult thing. It's for a lot of people, it's even a hardship, and people won't want to travel up to O'Hare to take a look at these windows. I probably would have looked at these windows had they had a showroom on the southwest side when I was offered my windows, but going to O'Hare was just a non-starter for me. And I know I've asked about this before, but I really want to press the importance of it.
Yeah, Pam, we have not talked about that recently, but I'll re-raise that issue with the commissioner and report back.
Perfect.
Okay,
All
is there
right,
anything else on the funding? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the upcoming meetings. And I think we have a
Elizabeth,
list
can you
of
just go
upcoming-
over a calendar for next date and time?
So we have
Yes.
the April, May, and June. Right now, we're still scheduled for monthly meetings, and I'm good with that until we start, till we have all these details ironed out.
Yeah, so Madam Chairman, that next meeting would be 4 weeks from today.
Okay, we're good with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So the next meeting will be April 21st, and right now we'll continue with the 4 o'clock. Okay. And then the next agenda item is public comments. And before I kind of give this to Elizabeth, who's got a lot of work to sort those out, I've seen a lot of the comments coming through, and it appears that there are a number of them asking, how do I get on the list to be inspected? You know, what do I do to be inspected? And Elizabeth, would you start out by just generically addressing those comments, perhaps give them the phone number to call to get on the list, and what they need to do for those types of questions? Because the public comments, I would like them to be more focused toward the purpose of this meeting, and that's the residential sound insulation program replacement for the odorless windows.
Yes, so I did share a link with everyone in the chat to address those interested in determining eligibility for the Chicago Department of Aviation's residential sound insulation program.
So Elizabeth, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you go ahead and read that into the record? Because there are some people today who are only participating by phone. And if they can't see the chat, I just want you to read that so that they can hear the information.
Okay, so the website would be www.flychicago.com/community/MDW noise/sound insulation/pages/property locator.aspx. Or you can call the residential sound insulation program inquiry line at 773-894-3255.
Yeah, and Madam Chairman, just to add on, we have different phone numbers for different purposes. The phone number that Elizabeth just gave, the 773-894-3255, is only to determine if you're eligible for the next round of sound insulation. If you've already received sound insulation, that's a different phone number, and that's at the bottom of the screen, at the bottom of the agenda. And so for Midway homeowners, if you've already received sound insulation and you've received windows and maybe they're odorous, please call 773-838-5632 for Midway. And for O'Hare, call 773-894-3636. So different phone numbers, they all come into the office, but we have different staff who respond to those inquiries depending on which inquiry and which phone log or which phone number.
And what was the number?
and for-
Someone wanted to find out if they were eligible for the first time.
Sure, Alan, that number is 773-894-3255. And you can use that phone number for either airport, either O'Hare or Midway.
Thank you.
And I would tell all of you the web address and the phone numbers were read rather fast. So the minutes for these meetings are published on the website, and that information will be out there. So if you didn't catch it, I apologize, but just go out to the website and you should be able to find it.
It's a little buried, just FYI, but I have definitely been directing people because, you know, my posts have, how do I get windows, or am I eligible for windows? The alderman's office gets calls every day for people wanting windows, you know, and I do refer people to the Fly Chicago website and, you know, the different means by which to get where you're going. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have a lot of people, not only that have windows that want inspections, but a lot of people who are still asking about windows for the first time.
Yep. And again, even if it's buried otherwise, the meeting minutes for this meeting will also have it spelled out.
Right. Well, the
So
meeting minutes are on that site as well. Again,
Correct.
there's several steps unless you've got that direct, you know, HTTP address. That yeah. But anyway, you're right.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, the CDA's
Elizabeth.
website. I'm sorry. Also, the CDA's website, because there was a question about the recording of the meeting. It will be on the RSIP Advisory Committee information webpage, which includes the upcoming meetings, the recordings of previous meetings, and the meeting minutes, as you all mentioned.
Yep.
Okay. So with that, Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you to start sorting through the public comments and either unmuting or reading whatever is appropriate here.
Yes. State Representative Angelica Guerrero-Seller had her hand raised from the beginning, so I would like to start with her and address her question.
Hi, thank you so much. Yes, I am Representative Angelica Guerrero Cuellar. I am new, District 22 is my new district, and I've been on the job probably for about a month. But I do want to just kind of make a couple of comments and questions is that I know many people have called my office and asking in terms of, you know, the meeting and the time of the meeting, if the time of the meeting could be changed because 4 o'clock is not convenient for many residents. And so I was wondering if it could be changed from 4 o'clock and if it could be pushed back to at least an hour, maybe 5, just because some people are still working, even though they're working from home. It might give them a more of an opportunity to participate. Also, too, if you would be able to send my office the information that you just communicated about email addresses and phone numbers. We've received many calls this week about our office. I'd say my 22nd district covers most of Midway Airport and the air path and the homes in that area. So I'd be willing to share all that communication information with my residents, but I just want to make sure that I'm giving out the correct information, whether it's you're signing up to get a home inspection right for the windows for the first time, or you already received one and you want to know where in the queue you are, or 3, if you have questions regarding receiving new windows for the very first time, right? So I want to make sure that I'm strategic in that.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, is it okay if I respond?
Yeah, please do.
Hi, Representative. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Aaron Frame. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Environment and Planning at the Chicago Department of Aviation. I'm sure that my commissioner would want us to reach out to your office and schedule a briefing. We're happy to get you up to speed on all of that. All of the Midway homeowners that are affected are within the 22nd district, and we're happy to spend some quality time with you and just give you some background and give you all the web links and the phone numbers that you need so that you can send constituents to the right information.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. But Elizabeth?
And I'm sorry, what about the time? Is that also in regards to the time of the meeting?
Well, right now we have the meeting at 4 o'clock for the next month. I believe what we'll end up doing is next month we can readdress and then determine if we need to push it back.
Okay. Okay, that'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your input.
Thanks.
The next resident that had several questions was Bill. There is no last name. He is on camera, but I believe he might have stepped out for a brief second. So if that's okay with you, Madam Chair, I would like to come back to him whenever he is.
Okay.
Or we can address his several questions right now.
I'm sorry, but let's let the folks that are still here, let's give them the opportunity. And if Bill jumps
All right.
back in, or if we have time, we'll come back to him.
The next question is from Eddie Gillen. I can read it off, or if you would like to unmute yourself and go ahead. What his question is, would it be possible to have public town halls at the time suitable for all residents to join? 4 p.m. isn't ideal for everyone to get the information out or for public comments. Would there be designated hotline to handle the influx of calls as well? Is another question of his.
Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, next month we'll continue with 4 o'clock. However, you know, based on what we're hearing, we'll probably push back after that, but we'll determine that in our next meeting. And then regarding the hotline, I think we just addressed that.
Mary Ellen Brown has a question. Can you go over the steps for identifying affected windows?
I could answer that.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, Mary Ellen, the thing that drew me to my windows was I started smelling a smell of burning plastic. That's the best way to describe it. In my home, it was not present 24/7 by any stretch of the imagination. But definitely on sunny days, even in January and late fall, I would begin to smell the smell in my home when I would be, later in the day when the sun would be shining on them. On cloudy days, not so much. If you open your windows and if like your storms have been down and you take a whiff, you might be able to catch the smell that way, because that's pretty much what the inspectors will be doing once they come to your home. But essentially what they're looking for and what will qualify you to be a part of the replacement program is if the inspectors smell the smell on your windows when they come to your home.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen. My question was more in the instance of what happens when they need to come out and test, because I live in the area. I've had that smell. I've gotten headaches. I did not know if it has anything to do with the windows. And when I called out for testing like more than a year ago, they came out with a temperature gun and just sniffed the window. My questions are for really identifying if your window is part of the problem. They did say my windows were installed by one of the companies that is identified as having defective windows. But is that still the testing process? Is they're just going to come out and sniff the windows?
Madam Chairman, would you
Pretty
like to answer that?
Yeah, I was going to see if you or Doug wanted to answer that.
Yeah, Doug, go ahead.
Okay. So yes, the first step is scheduling an appointment, and you kind of described part of that already. Our customer service reps ask the homeowner to make sure that their windows are closed. The inside window and the storm window. We want those to be closed for at least 24 hours, preferably 48 hours before the inspection time. So our odor inspectors will show up in the home, and they will approach each window. They will open the window and take a temperature gauge inside the cavity. They'll kind of point it down at the windowsill. What they're doing there is they're just trying to gather some information to see if they know what the temperature inside that cavity was at the time that they opened the window. We started taking that temperature gauge many months ago, just to see if there's any information that is useful in confirming an odor. But the main point of trying to confirm an odor is the two odor inspectors are going to sniff that air that comes out as soon as they open that window. So that is really, there's no scientific tool that can measure it at those levels that a human nose can smell it at. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to confirm that odor with a couple people during that inspection. So that's really all they're doing to do it for each window. And they'll go around in the house and check all the windows in the house.
So Mary Ann, definitely scheduling your appointment at the time when you feel that they would have the highest chance of catching that smell, and that's when the sun is on those particular windows that smell is emanating from, that you notice. And also, if in fact it is cloudy the day that they come, or the weather looks to be bad, you can always reschedule and move your appointment. And schedule it at the time when they're most likely to catch it. I feel that there's things that can be done to, higher your chance of them catching the smell like you are.
So my follow-up question is, like I said, about a year plus ago, I had them come out to do the inspection, and it was not on it was a cloudy day. It was not prime for when I would normally expect to have the smell. So since I've already had the inspection one time, is it possible to get a second inspection done?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we did not confirm an odor the first time, we like to encourage the homeowners to call us back if that odor comes back. We believe you smelled it, but we have to confirm it on a day that we're there. Just so everyone's aware, Pam is correct that if the sun is on that window on that time of the day, the chances are that we will be able to confirm the odor. But we have confirmed odors on shady days, cloudy days, Days in the middle of the winter when it's 30 degrees out, we have confirmed odor. So chances are increased, like Pam says, but we can confirm it in all types of weather conditions.
The next question comes from Maria. Where do we call to schedule for an odor inspection?
Okay, and I believe that information was given out earlier.
Yeah, so I'll go over that again, Madam Chair. If you live near Midway, just go ahead and call 773-838-5632. If you live near O'Hare, go ahead and call 773-894-3636. And again, that's for people that have already received sound insulation windows in a prior year. You've gotten them from our program and you think you're smelling an odor, which is unpleasant. Those are our windows and we want to come to the home and confirm that for you. If they are not our windows, then we can talk to you offline. The goal of this program is to only address odor problems from the windows that we installed in a prior year. Hope that helps.
Margie also has a question. Will the letter be mailed to the homeowner address versus the property address? I'm an owner of a 2-flat in the area, but I don't live in them. Thanks.
Doug, do you want to take that?
Make sure I'm not on mute. Yes, we send the letters to the property address. In certain instances where we're actively working with a homeowner, the homeowner will tell us their address where they live, and we do use that. But we're going to be sending out thousands of letters, so we're going to use the property address unless some homeowner specifically told us that they're at a different location.
And that begs, go ahead. I'll have to ask you something about that later, Doug.
Okay.
The next question comes from Hector Rivera. Hello, I'm 3 blocks away from Midway Airport on Menard Avenue and purchased this home in 2016. The previous owner participated in the RSIP and the windows were 2006. On very warm sunny days, I do smell an odor from these vinyl windows. I would like an inspection, but what if on the day of inspection that is not a warm sunny day? I do have a scrap piece of this vinyl and can replicate the odor with a handsaw. The friction from cutting the vinyl produces the exact odor.
Doug, go ahead.
So yes, we would encourage you to call our office, the telephone number that Aaron just read and read a couple times. We will come out and do an odor inspection. Unfortunately, we can't have you replicate the odor by cutting a piece of vinyl with a saw. We really need to confirm it in the position. So our inspectors will do that. And again, if the conditions aren't perfect to confirm an odor, we will come out again to do it on another day. But like Pam said, if there's a certain time in the afternoon where you say you always smell it in the afternoon on this side of the house, you can request an appointment during that time frame. So we will be able to do that.
Yeah, just to add on to what Doug said, right now we're not on any kind of a clock. So everyone, any homeowner that's on the meeting today that really wants to call the office to schedule an odor appointment, please feel free to do so. Today during the meeting, we were talking about mailing a notice to all the affected homeowners. Once we do that, that does start a clock that's been written into state law. And from the day that we send the letter, the state law says that we have 6 months to receive any inquiries about that. But right now that clock hasn't started, so please feel free to call that office at any time. And Doug,
Also,
what do the homeowners do if it's after hours?
If you call our office after hours, we have a voicemail recording. You leave a voicemail message and we will call you back during regular business hours. And we can also give you a website, or I'm sorry, an email address that we can communicate back and forth from. If for some reason we can't get a hold of you during the day, we can reach out to you via email.
Janet Tomchik has 2 comments. Yes, there should be a showroom at Midway as the sample windows are so small and would not be any convenience to CDA. Also, I am a homeowner with smelly windows and confirmed. Yes, you need to move these meetings to a time where homeowners can participate. After all, this is about us, not you.
Okay, thank you. And next comment.
Geraldine Zaker, assign each qualifying owner an ID. They will then, upon receiving the letter, contact an assigned person to be added on a first come, first served basis. I personally have been waiting almost 2 years since testing positive for odorous windows. And last, Bill made a few comments. I'm sorry about that. I just lost it because he was in line first. If I'm not mistaken, the window replacement program was for owners living in these homes and not rentals or commercial properties.
So I can take that, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I'd
So
say.
just to be
either Doug
clear,
or- Yeah,
this program to replace odorous windows is for homes where we, the Chicago Department of Aviation, have come to the property in the past, done sound insulation, replaced the doors and windows to reduce the noise. And unfortunately, we had the experience where we solved the noise problem and it inadvertently created an odor problem due to bad manufacturing. So again, if we've been to your home in a prior year for sound insulation, then those windows that are still in the home are potentially eligible for window replacement if we do confirm an unpleasant odor. If we have never been in your home before, then those homes are not part of our program and would not be eligible for replacement by us using state of Illinois funds. Hope that's clear.
One last thing he had to add, I would imagine a letter to the owner would be best with an estimated dates of what, when, where, and how. And those were his comments. Other than that,
okay,
that would be all. There are no more comments from the public.
okay, thank you. I think there was one last one that just came in.
Oh, Margie has an additional question. If there's a homeowner to respond, it will be important for you to ensure the homeowner receives the notice. I'm pretty confident there are many that do not live in the home.
Yeah, I would agree that that's important. We do know that there are a lot of homes that are rental properties. So that's definitely something we'll give some thought to and report back to the committee at the next meeting.
Yeah, that was kind of my question to Doug and you know, was a lot of people rent their homes, you know, and so how will they, I mean, they might not have at the time, because I think if I'm not mistaken, that might have gone to Bill's statement or question. When the windows are offered, the home does need to be owner occupied, correct?
No, we don't do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, what you're talking about existed at one time years ago. And that
In 2011 it existed, so.
yeah, and so what happened was that sort of changed in 2013 for first time installation. I think today, Pam, what we would say is any home near O'Hare or Midway that got windows in the past from us that is producing an odor, regardless of who lives there, whether it's, you know, the owner or a family member or a tenant, if those windows are producing an odor, we would like you to call us so that we can help solve that problem. So it is not limited to owner only.
Okay, good to know.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the comments. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Well, first we have to have a motion.
Oh, let's adjourn. I motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Guys.
now I'll ask for a second. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Elizabeth, do you want to do a roll call vote?
Yes. Linda Schum,
Yes.
Tracy Payne,
Yes.
Vildana Chelik,
Yes.
Pamela Zadarich,
Yes.
Alan Gapka.
Yes.
The motion passed.
Okay, thank you all, and I encourage you all to get your COVID vaccine when you are eligible and when it's available. So with that, that's my public service announcement, and we'll talk. to
Well, you know
all
what?
next month.
Funniest
Yes,
thing
ma'am.
is, while I was on the phone with this meeting, I got a call to go get a vaccine and I sent my husband instead, so. Just
Well, you're halfway
FYI,
there.
pardon me?
I said, you're halfway. You got him under control now.
A third of the way. I still have
Okay,
a son
yeah,
to
that's
get.
true.
All right, folks, thank you very much.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter to-
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy Easter.
Bye-bye.
Done.